The thing that I wanted to talk to you about, besides the app of the year, is that are coming across at IT Varsity. Now, there's one thing about IT Varsity, we always want to be better than ourselves. We don't ever compare ourselves to competition. We don't look at what other institutes are doing or how they're doing it. We actually quite pathetic at that. We're quite useless at comparing ourselves with others. But we do compare ourselves with ourselves, and we constantly want to improve the standards of education to you and getting the maximum benefit out of entrepreneur. So keeping that in mind, there's a few things that are going to change in the near future. In fact, some of them are going live as early as next week. The one thing is you're going to find that students are now going to be enrolled into monthly cohorts. Depending on when you enrolled and what is your current position in entrepreneur, you're going to go month to month with a group of students around the world that are at the exact place that you are, and you guys are going to be moving at the same pace as each other. So what's going to happen, for example, is when you if you enroll for a module in February, you automatically enroll into the March cohort for that module, and your projects are due at the end of March. Now, the reason we're doing this is because we're finding that the students, especially those that are studying on their own and not part of the center, what's happening is that there's no accountability as far as submission of assignments goes. So assignments are not being submitted in time. Yet we know that you are more capable. We know that most of our students are capable of submitting those assignments much sooner. But where there's a deadline, you have to meet up with that deadline. The other thing is, at least you've got that cohort that you can lean on. There's a group of people that are at the exact same place in the course as you are, and you can lean on them for any questions. So that's going to be awesome. The other thing that we noticed was that some students are not doing their assignments. Now, because we've uh, unlocked all the modules for you guys, some of you are not doing your assignments and you're moving on to the next module with the intention that you'll come back. Now, this is less than ideal. The whole objective of the assignment is to consolidate your understanding of a module before you move on to the next one. So it's extremely important that you finish off your module, do the assignment while the knowledge is still fresh in your mind, complete it, submit it, and then move on to the next one. So what we're going to be doing, what the system is going to do from now is that it's going to lock down the next project until your assignment is submitted and graded. Now, in terms of grading, we know there were some challenges as far as grading goes. There were some delays, but we've reduced the time it takes to get your assignment graded and returned and feedback given to you to maximum 4 hours. So if you submit this evening, by tomorrow morning, you should get your grading and your feedback. Which brings me to the third point, which is that the new pass mark for assignments is now 100%. Now you might be wondering, how can I possibly score 100% in my assignment? I'm going to fail. But the idea is not to fail you. No one fails at IT Varsity. The idea is that when you submit an assignment, and if it's not 100%, then the teacher will give you feedback. You go, you correct it, you come back, you resubmit. And let's say you resubmit and you get a grading of 95%. It's not that you're just going to get 95% and that's it. Again, the teacher will give you feedback and you'll fix up whatever the teacher gave you feedback on, and then you resubmit. This time you get 100%. Now, the reason we're doing this, guys, is because in the real world, when you're working as a developer, let's say you're developing an app for a company, no one is going to accept a 60% job or an 80% job. Your clients or your employers will want a 100% job out of you. And the way it works in the real world is you develop something, you submit it, your client or your project manager will look at it. They'll say, okay, this is good, we're on the right track, but we need this or that to be tweaked. You'll tweak it, we'll give it back. So there's a back and forth that goes on. It's an iterative development approach that you're going to be using. Now, we've adopted that in IT Varsity to give you a sense of what it's like in the real world. So that's number 3. And that's going to be really exciting. And we're looking forward to these interactions. Don't feel disheartened because you have unlimited tries to get that assignment right. Remember, at IT Varsity, we're not teaching for exams, we're teaching for mastery. You need to be a master when you leave from here, because our responsibility to you as our student end on graduation. We see it as our responsibility to you continues post-graduation until such a time you are earning a good income out of your skills, either through employment or through starting your own business. And the only way we can guarantee this is, well, we can't even guarantee it. The only way we can make this more likely is by making you really, really, really good at what you do. And everything that we're doing here now is to make you into a top-notch, top-shelf developer who is noticed by prospective employers. Number 4, the 4th thing we're bringing into place is having a social media presence is now going to become mandatory for every student. You need to have a social media presence on pretty much every platform, but our primary focus is going to be on LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook. So if you're lacking in any one of these, please go and set it up. It's going to become mandatory, and the reason for that is because the only way you're going to get noticed by prospective employers is by putting yourself out on social media. I cannot emphasize how powerful that is and how important that is. All right, so that's 4. Number 5, last thing, is we are introducing a new type of project which will roll out by November or December. So this new project, we're going to send you guys more details about it, but I'm just giving you the highlights of it. The project will entail it'll entail 2 parts. The one part will be to submit an assignment to us where we will grade it and give you feedback. But then the more exciting is the second part. The second part is where you will now have to go out and find a real world client. It could be anyone. It could be a small business. It could be a non-profit. It could be a church. It could be just about any organization, but it must be a real organization. You're going to have to find this person or this organization, offer them a solution, develop a solution for them, and then deploy that solution for them into the real world. And that will become your client. And here's the best part. You're going to submit your submission into a competition only open to IT Varsity students, and you're going to win a prize if yours is the best. And remember, this is for all students globally, not just for South African students. So our Haitian students will also have that opportunity. Now, why are we doing this? The reason we're doing this is to throw you into the deep end. We're throwing you into the deep end of going and looking for a client. We're not going to find the client for you. You're going to have to find the client for yourself. What is this? This is entrepreneurship. Remember, entrepreneur, app plus entrepreneurship. So the entrepreneurship aspect of entrepreneur is precisely this. So we're throwing you into the deep end. You're going to go look for a client, negotiate with that client, get the job done, and make sure the client is happy. So you're developing a real world solution for a real client. Even if you're earning nothing out of it, we don't care. The fact is, well, ideally you're not supposed to charge because you're not on that level yet, but you now have a real world portfolio. You already have a customer. you have one customer. So the next time you go out, when you graduate, you go out looking for business, and people ask you, "What have you developed?" Then you can use your existing client as a testimonial. So it's on you to do the best possible job. But we'll discuss this in more detail. I just thought I'd give you a heads up on these 5 things that are happening at IT Varsity. So just as recently you saw some changes happening on the LMS, you're going to see lots more changes. But don't stress, we're going to keep you in the loop with those changes. If you've got any questions, please forward them and we'll answer those questions. I see there's already a question. Okay, McAnthony, your question. So what about Bootstrap, WordPress, Drupal, C++? Relevant or important, as most other institutes tend to add them for developer courses. Okay, 2 things, McAnthony. The one is we try to be different to other institutes in the sense that instead of bringing in too many different technologies, we bring in a few and give you deep knowledge of those. So to go over some of the technologies that you've named, Bootstrap, yes, there is an introduction to Bootstrap. Remember, Bootstrap is a CSS framework. So you need to understand your CSS thoroughly before getting into Bootstrap. Now, if you look at app projects like Pine City Zoo, we are helping you, or we're actually teaching you to create responsive apps that work and look beautiful no matter what the size of the screen. Now, Bootstrap does the exact same thing, except that now you're using pure CSS in Pine City Zoo to develop this kind of solution. Bootstrap will do something similar. So we will bring in an introduction to Bootstrap. WordPress, yes, definitely. The WordPress module is launching in the next few weeks. We are already busy at work with it. WordPress is awesome for building websites. In fact, the IT Varsity website is built on WordPress. And we're going to be teaching you guys WordPress plus e-commerce solution with WordPress. So you'll be able to develop fully fledged e-commerce solutions, well, websites and e-commerce solutions with checkouts. Then in terms of Drupal is dead, forget about it. No one really uses Drupal. WordPress has taken over. C++, nope, we don't teach C++ at all, even though I am personally very fond of C++ as a language, for the simple reason that very, 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 very few development companies and environments actually use C++. We've opted rather for PHP as a language of instruction, and you'll be getting introduced to C++ towards the 9th or 10th month of the course, probably in module towards the end of module 9 and the whole of module 10. So what you're going to learn is you're going to learn to develop a fully fledged full stack web application using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript on the front end and PHP and MySQL database on the back end. So our language is going to be PHP. We don't cover C++ at all. Not that it's not something you should go and study on your own. I think it's intuitive. It's interesting to study C++, but there's just not much scope for it globally in the job markets. So any more questions? Great questions, McAnthony. Anyone else has any questions? We'll keep it open for another another 2 minutes, just in case someone has questions. Anyone from Tembisa here? McAnthony, have I answered your questions satisfactorily? conference. Okay, good question from Christopher. Christopher, currently there are 7 modules. We're adding 3 more. Those are currently in development. So in total, there's going to be 10 modules yeah, in the entrepreneur. Good questions, guys. Keep them coming. Anyone from Port Elizabeth here? Haiti? Valley Trust? Christopher, by time limit, I'm assuming you mean the amount of time that you're given to complete the course. It will still be a 1 year qualification, but we do give you 18 months to complete it, which I think is more than sufficient. But look, we are all ears. If there are challenges, then speak to us. We want to know what the challenges are. Like you've, for example, if you've gotten a full-time job and you can't spend as much time studying as you would like to, we are more than understanding. It's not a matter of with us of you have to complete it at the prescribed time. It's all about understanding. But at the same time, we are going to push you guys to move optimally because we don't want you taking 2 years to do this course or 2.5 years. We want to get you to complete the course so we can put you into either your own business or some kind of consulting job or into a full-time job. Let's see if any more questions come up. I can't think it's one more. Guys, we're going to wrap up today's webinar session. But remember, even though the webinar is over, the channels of communication must remain open. Whatever you are happy or unhappy about, let us know. ID Varsity is not about us. It's all about you. We're going to do our best to accelerate you into world-class developers. But we need your help. We need your input. And don't be afraid to complain if there's anything you're unhappy about. We are here to listen, and we're always, as you can see, we are restless. We're always looking to improve ourselves, improve the quality and service that we're giving you. And the whole objective, remember, is empowerment, to give you the power to go and become global leaders in the technology space. Awesome. Thanks a lot, guys.